Hey YouTube, this time the Prepper One, and you won't believe it, it's starting to sprinkle, just barely. So we're gonna get another rainstorm. We get so much rain here. I feel bad for the people out west that are suffering a drought. We get too much rain. Can't complain, everything's nice and green. What I want to talk about, I'm seeing no solutions being given by politicians to solve our current mess. Absolutely not. There's no solutions. They're actually trying to create policy to make it worse. There's no one actively saying, hey, top priority in the United States is solving the logistical problem, which would then solve some economic problems, because what's happening is people don't have the supplies to do what they need to do with their work, be it from making soda to making air conditioners to everything in between. And so when they have no materials, they get laid off or they get reduced hours, and this creates an economic problem that's occurring. But actually, government's making it worse. They're trying to solve it. Let's talk about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. What is the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? It's actually 4 huge underground caverns that are full of oil. And this oil is to be used in an emergency. The 4 caverns are located in the south along the Gulf of Mexico. And they're authorized to hold up to 727 million barrels of oil, and this is for an emergency. Now it could be an economic emergency, it could be a war, it could be whatever the president and our government officials want to use it for, but it's there for a purpose. President Biden is actively selling off of our reserves. This is going over to Europe, it's going to Asia, and it's also going to China. Yes, China is benefiting from this oil. Right now we're really at the lowest level, I think, since 1986. So we're not doing good. Our philosophy in the country is to spend all your money, and then we spend our kids' money, and then we start spending our grandchildren's money. That's our philosophy. Well, it's their philosophy. It's the politicians' philosophy. It's our elected representatives. It's not most Americans, and most Americans realize that, hey, you can only go so far in debt until you have to stop spending and dig yourself out. And when we as a family learn how to do that and we get on a budget, life is less stressful. Life would be less stressful for our government if they got on a budget. Yeah, it would be some hard decisions would have to be made, but guess what? That's why we elect people to represent us. But they continue not to represent us. So right now, Biden is selling oil. He's trying to keep the price of oil down, which is great. But out of one side of his mouth, he says that. The other side of his mouth, he vilifies oil companies. He vilifies people that own gas stations, telling them to drop the price on your gas. There's a lot of small gas stations out there, independent people, mom and pops that are trying to make a living. It's not their fault. The fault is our policies with the government. The fault is them. The big oil is just providing a service. The government doesn't support low prices because every step of the way, Biden, one side of his mouth says it's oil problems, the company's fault. The other side of his mouth, he says, let's cut the pipeline. Let's cut the leases for oil. And that's what's happening. He's putting so much pressure on the production side of it, it's driving the price through the roof. So he thinks he can solve it by using our savings account. That's basically what it is. It's a savings account that we need to have in case we go into a war. Heaven forbid if it's a world war. We're going to need those reserves to quickly put it into either jet fuel, whatever we need to power. So, the way Biden's going at this present moment, I think in October he will bring our reserves down to 358 million. That is not good news. We're using our savings account. A year ago, we were sitting at 621 million barrels of oil in our reserves. So as you can see, he's decimating it. It's not dropping the price of oil. To drop the price of oil, you pump more out of the ground. That's what we need. Everything he's doing is contrary to that. So I don't think he's out to help the economy. So to go back to think of, are they trying to help us get us out of this economic recession? No, they're not. They're doing everything to get us into more trouble, to indebt us more. So there is a serious problem by using the reserves. They're not helping us. The government, I see no politicians that have come out with a platform to stabilize us. They're coming out with things that are driving us further down the hole of indebtedness, and eventually it will become a depression if they don't get a hold of this thing. More and more countries are going away from the dollar. The dollar used to be used to buy oil in the world. Very soon we're going to see that that dollar is no longer needed. And then we will see inflation like you've never seen before. So keep preparing. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to give you facts. So if you hear anything about the strategic oil reserve, the strategic petroleum reserves, you're going to know what it is. We're going to be about half empty soon. We need to be full, because now we're living in troubled times. We have a lot of people, Russia, China, that do not like us, and we need a reserve in case we go into a World War III or any type of war. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching.